All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro wrapping up a Monday on the show. And certainly we're going to be talking some football coming up here in just a few minutes. But quickly, want to talk a little UNLV hoops. As you know, they beat Utah State last week, and that was a big game on Wednesday night. And they played. Listen, defensively, they're doing a fantastic job. The effort is there, right? We talked about effort, and I said this game doesn't really mean much if they can't beat Air Force over the weekend. And they took care of business. They got off to a slow start. I think Air Force was up 11 at one point, and then UNLV clamped up defensively, took Air Force out of their stuff. And again, I give TJ Otzelberger credit in the fact that they are playing hard. These kids are playing hard, and it doesn't seem like it. It is. They've bought into whatever they're working on in practice. Players being held to accountability. I think the one issue that we should mention is that Tillman showed up late to a shoot-around, and he did not play against Air Force. That is a problem. We know that Tillman has had some issues before, and I like the fact that TJ Otzelberger did not play him at all. Forget about not starting him. He was suspended a game.
When you let a guy like Tillman, who has a history of kind of not being the most model player, we'll put it that way, when you let him do things that like be late and show up late, I mean, it creates a poor culture, and it spreads amongst the players. Yeah. And I think Otzelberger recognized that, and he knew that Tillman did these things at his last college. Otherwise, he wouldn't have transferred, because he's a very talented guy. He was a 4-star recruit. He was a highly recruited guy.
But I give Otzelberger credit, and I think a big part of why they're playing harder. I don't think they're doing anything differently offensively. Their offense looks the same.
It does.
And I don't. You could say that Hardy's playing a lot better. He's not forcing shots, and guys are moving the ball around a little better. But this is on the defensive end. Let's just call it for what it is. And it's effort. It's just effort. That's all it is. And TJ held players accountable a few weeks ago. Players weren't starting. Hardy wasn't starting. And I think when you hold players accountable and you do that, and that's the coach's job, he's done his job. And I think that's why the team is playing harder. Keep in mind, they've been winning these games at home. Keep in mind that Utah State didn't really have their top two players. Their starting center was completely out, and Sam Merrill is not healthy. And keep in mind, they played an Air Force team that's awful. They're just not a good basketball team.
And then Utah State was actually beaten by San Diego State a couple days ago.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
At home, and San Diego State is now ranked number 6 in the country. They're now being discussed as a possible number 1 seed. When's the last time the Mountain West had a 1 seed, Brian, in the tournament?
Not since I've been in this town, that's for sure. But let me, UNLV, I would say is probably the last time.
1991.
But I went on this show a month ago, and I'm going to pat myself on the back, because a month ago, when this team was completely underneath the radar, I watched them play at the Orleans. I saw them destroy Creighton. I saw them beat a very good Iowa team. Iowa's a good basketball team. And I said to myself, and I rarely ever say this, right? I've said this about some Gonzaga teams. I've said this about some number 1 teams before. I've said this about some good teams. Maybe a couple teams a year I'll say this. But I do not personally believe that San Diego State has any weaknesses. Here's what I mean by that. They got this transfer Flynn, who is, as far as I'm concerned, by far the best point guard in the conference. Flynn is he is unbelievable. Okay, you've got physical players down low. Shackle, who is, I think he's like an 8th-year senior. He never misses. He's an unbelievable shooter. And then you got guys down low. You got 3 or 4 guys that are 6'6", 6'7", or bigger that are really, really talented.
Try 6'10".
Yeah, and then
Mensa, and Wetzel are 6'9", 6'10", 6'10".
And I love this kid. He is my favorite player in the conference, and that is Matt Mitchell.
Right.
Mitchell is a guy that comes off the bench, yet he's playing 30 minutes a game. I don't know why he doesn't start. Mitchell is and he's a great kid too, by the way. I was talking to some friends yesterday, a couple D1 coaches that just say what a great kid this kid Mitchell is. So he comes off the bench. This is a guy that can shoot the 3. This is a guy that's physical, and I believe he's an NBA prospect. He'll certainly be getting paid to play basketball somewhere, and he's coming off the bench. Are you kidding me?
And he has a nice game. He's decent off the dribble. He's got a nice shot. He's kind of built like a baby Charles Barkley. So he's an interesting player as well.
Anyway,
and then they have KJ Fegan, who was the best, who was the number 1 scorer for Santa Clara last year, who transferred over.
He's struggling a little bit to score this year, but he's a very talented player. We can agree on that. He's pretty good on both ends of the floor. So San Diego State could very well be. Listen, I'm going to say this right now, and I know everyone's going to think I'm crazy. I think San Diego State runs the table. I'm not sure they lose a game in the Mountain West Conference.
The conversation right now is 28-1. And if they go 28-1, they will be a number 1 seed. If they go undefeated, they are absolutely they'll be the top seed if they go undefeated, in my opinion.
This is certainly a team.
I think Gonzaga is going to fall a couple of times. They've had leads. Well, they've been behind against Portland and a couple of teams at home and Pepperdine a couple of times.
That's going to happen, and they could they could have one or two bad nights.
I'm not sure San Jose State's had one. They had one game where they won by 1 point against San Jose State.
I don't think Utah State.
That was their worst game.
I don't think Utah State can compete with this team unless they're 100% healthy, and I'm not sure that's going to happen.
One of the reasons why UNLV is being so successful is because Marvin Coleman, this walk-on who comes off.
So that's a good example.
Who's now getting some time, who's appreciating every single minute he gets. He had 6 points, 10 boards, and 6 assists.
No, he's playing hard
against Utah or against Air Force.
Let's give this kid credit. He is named the Mountain West Men's Basketball Player of the Week, and that is UNLV's Bryce Hamilton. He has done a fantastic job in playing a lot more minutes, and Hamilton is another kid who's really improving. So I give them credit where credit is due. I gave them credit when they beat Utah State. I give them credit over the weekend. We hope it continues. I picked UNLV to finish 5th in conference, and I said if it's a really good year, maybe they get an NIT invite. I still don't think that's going to happen, but you never know. They started off 3-0 in conference, but it's a long season, and there's a lot of games. Let's see if they can maintain this type of level of consistency, at least on the effort factor. Quickly, we only got about 2 minutes here left. Actually, we have less than 2 minutes. We got about a minute and a half, but didn't get a lot of time to talk NFL today. But Patriots lose and the Saints lose, and McCarthy is a coach in the NFL again. Quickly, your comments on that.
Mike McCarthy just was hired by the Dallas Cowboys to precede Jason Garrett. I think that's a good situation for him. He's a very, very imaginative offensive mind. He does well with quarterbacks. Dak Prescott needs some help. He won a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. He needs to hire a good defensive coordinator. Also, I think Tom Brady ends up a Los Angeles Charger in 2020.
No chance he becomes a Raider. No chance.
Absolutely not. I hope not. I hope he's not a Raider.
Why would you say you hope not?
You think you want Tom Brady to be a Raider?
Yes,
do?
I do.
I mean, all right.
I do.
You know what? I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say I hope not.
Arguably,
for his sake, I hope he ends up a Charger for the NFL's sake, because the NFL needs those tickets. They need LA to be a big time team. That'll be great for the ratings. That'll be good for the NFL. So
great for the Raiders.
For the NFL's sake. And for us too,
there's at least a 5% chance he becomes a Raider. I think
you think 5%. You actually believe that?
Yeah, I do. I think there's a 5%.
I think he's a Charger. He's from California.
He's going to play in California.
His family lives there. He's a West Coast guy. I think he ends up in the West Coast.
All right, well, another show wrapped up in the books. By the way, check out our website, thevegastake.com. Also, our YouTube page, The Vegas Take. We're all over the place. We're on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. We're all over the place, so be sure to check us out. Thanks to our guests, Michael Avenatti and Brett Smiley. We were going to take a 21-hour break. We'll be back at you tomorrow bright and early, folks. Have a great afternoon. Sean Hannity is coming up next.